Dear listeners and viewers, I believe that the first audio on the great play A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams would have appealed to you. And now I have come with the summary part of the play. The play runs in 3 acts with 12 scenes. But before I explain the summary of the play, I would like to sketch the early life of the main protagonist or the heroine of the novel, Blanche Dubois. As you have seen, Blanche Dubois signifies innocence and beauty. But here we find the opposite characteristics in the protagonist, Blanche Dubois. Tennessee Williams has deliberately chosen this name of the most important character, since he intends to say that what we are called, not necessarily we are in our real life, and what we see is not necessarily true in our real life. Blanche was a school teacher, a teacher of English poetry in Laurel, Mississippi. After losing all her ancestral property, even her own house, Belly Reeve, which means sweet dreams, she was forced to join the school. But due to her sexual relation with a student of the school, she was forced to leave her job. Due to her sexual relations with strangers, she earned a bad reputation in Laurel, and she had become one of the most talkative person in the city. After losing all her family assets, she is forced to leave the place and decides to come to New Orleans with a desire to live a happy life with her sister and brother-in-law Stella and Stanley. In spite of her miserable economic condition and immoral sexual relations, she continues to pretend about her financial status and moral dignity. She avoids reality and creates her own imaginary world where she pretends to be highly dignified and refined in terms of her class. She is unable to come out of her sense of class superiority since she belongs to the impoverished aristocratic class of the South America and always mocks the working class life style of his brother in law. This irritates him. She subjects herself to the hatred of her brother in law. She drinks heavily, hiding it from her sister and brother in law to forget her miserable past life and prefers to live in the world of imagination. Thus, her desire for sex, that is, sexual passion, and her class consciousness and living in the world of imagination, all these factors take her to destruction finally. Now the story begins as such. Blanche, dressed her fashionably, reaches New Orleans apartment of her sister Stella with a big trunk that indicates her intention of staying her sister's place for a long period of time. Moreover, she also carries bottles of liquors. She has come from Laurel, Mississippi, a southern state, where she lost her job due to her sexual relation with the students, as told earlier. She conveys, however, to Stella and conceals the real fact that her ancestral home, Belly Reef, is no longer in her possession. This is true, but she hides other facts, such as she tells lie that she has lost her job from the school, and she has been asked to go for a leave of absence due to her bad nerves. She was unable to accommodate herself in a hotel, and that's why she has come there to spend few days. Despite her poverty, Blanche expresses disappointment after seeing Stella's 2 rooms apartment due to her superiority in terms of class. On the other hand, Stella appears to be quite content with the working class lifestyle of her husband, Stanley Kowalski, forgetting her past class, and she is even pregnant with Stanley's child. Due to Blanche's class pretension, Stanley starts to hate her. His hatred keeps growing because of Blanche's false statements and arguments and her arrogance. He eventually suspects that Blanche had conspired to rob Stella of their family assets, and he demands papers. However, this is a fact that Blanche had lost Belle. Blanche reveals that the ancestral home was lost since she was unable to clear debt, and this shows her horrible financial condition. Apart from this, her habit of drinking, which she always hides, also hints at the fact that she is faking. Finding no other option, Blanche begins to love Mitch, who is a friend of Stanley. Mitch too loves her. Thus, we see that Blanche is pretentious in nature also. She has lost everything and she is a very needy person. She is a widow but alcoholic and lives in an imaginary world. She has become debased. She is infamous in sexualizing with various people. She is almost exiled from the city Laurel. She is a weak person. She always imagines that she was the reason for the death of her husband. Here it is relevant to mention that Blanche was married in her teenage to Alan Gray, who committed suicide when Blanche came to know about his homosexual relations with other person. Blanche imagines, thinks and dreams for a world where everything dreams of a blessed world. She conjures new people and opportunities. She is unable to distinguish between real and imaginary things. Stella states about her as such. Nobody was tender and trusting as she was, but people abused her and forced her to change. Blanche sings the popular ballad, "It is only a paper moon," while she baths. She songs lyrics describing the way love turns the world. The speaker of this song is Ella Jane, who is also called the Queen of George era. George era in America begins from 1920 to 1930. Blanche believes in imagined reality where nothing real exists. The lyrics sums up Blanche's approach to life. She believes that her fibbing is only her means of enjoying a better way of life. and therefore essentially harmless. The song describes the fanciful way one perceives the world while in love, but also foreshadows the fact that Mitch falls out of love with Blanche after his illusions. That is, when he comes to know about the real story of Blanche. The unhappy state of Stella and Stanley's married life comes to the fore when Stanley arranges a drunken poker game with his friends. Stanley is already impatient, irritated, and angry over Blanche's growing closeness with his friends, and especially with Mitch. When Mitch and Blanche are seen having conversation at the bedroom, angry Stanley enters there and throws the radio out of the window. Stella starts shouting at Stanley and defends Blanche. Stanley beats Stella, though she is pregnant. Stella and Blanche go to Eunice's apartment. However, Stanley asks forgiveness from Stella, which she does, and embraces Stanley. Mitch comforts Blanche outside the apartment. After this incident, Blanche one day convinces Stella that Stanley's working class status and his low profile life style do not match with Stella's class and aristocratic background. So they should leave Stanley's house. And a millionaire, one-time suitor of Blanche, named Shep Huntley, will help in their pursuit. Stella laughs at this and rejects outrightly this idea or this suggestion. However, Stanley overhears their conversation. He confronts Blanche and hints that he has come to know about the rumor which is going on about Blanche's disgraceful past life. One day in the evening, a teenage boy visits their flat to collect money for newspaper. Stella and Stanley were outside the house. Since Blanche has no money, she kisses the boy lustfully. This incident hints at the truthfulness of her rumored disgraceful past. On the same evening, Blanche meets Mitch and confesses about the death of her husband, and she says that she is responsible for his death. Mitch too informs about his loss of formal love. Thank you, listeners. Here I stop, and in the next part of the audio, I will complete the summary of the whole play, A Streetcar Named Desire. And if you like and my depiction and narration, please subscribe and share my channel English Wala. Thank you.